So normally at this time of year I post the sickest recap ever montage reminisce of what I did in the last year, and honestly nothing happened last year, so let's just talk about TV shows. Hey, I'm Jen, and honestly I have a film degree, so I feel like I'm qualified to spill the tea on these TV shows. Ba-boom-ch. Sorry, I just really wanted to do that one. Now, I don't know about you, but all of 2020 I basically just binge watched a lot of TV shows, and I've kind of run out of content to watch, so I mean, give me suggestions in the comments, but this is a full list of basically everything I watched like full seasons of, so I'm just gonna let you know if you should watch it. Would I watch it again? Oh, and I got a new camera, so let me know what you think. Woo! So I'm just gonna go in order of like which TV shows I think I watched first. Honestly, there are 20 on the list. Maybe I'll cut some out of the edit because this will be freaking long, but here we go. First one I started off with was the Frankenstein Chronicles, and honestly it was like one of the first shows I watched all together, like with my boyfriend and my mom, and that was the start of this relationship where we just watched a lot of TV. So basically we watched it when it was like storm season here in Australia, and it was just nice with all the rain and just like Frankenstein Chronicles. It just made sense. Basically it's set in like, I don't know, 1800s England, I would assume, and Sean Bean's in it, and he is basically trying to work out like who is making these Frankenstein things. There's like murders, blah blah blah. It's so mysterious. I am probably not doing it justice, but I really loved watching that TV show. I wish there was more seasons of it, and I probably would watch it again. I gotta be tough. 3 out of 5 compared to all the rest on the list. What I did like about the show also was that it was really dark and grimy and just like, I don't know, just showed like the gross elements of England. They were going in sewer pipes. It was not nice if you wanted to think about living in England, but I'm sure it's fine now. Next up is Westworld, and honestly, I'm very late to the bandwagon on this one, but luckily there was a new season that came out this year, so I had extra episodes to watch. It was kind of an incentive to watch the other seasons because I knew new season was coming out, so I just like had to quickly watch them all. Now, if you haven't watched Westworld, basically it is about kind of just like this theme park kind of place where there's like robots of, I don't know, Western characters. It's just kind of somewhere where tourists can go and immerse themselves into the West, the Wild Wild West, you know, so yeah, it seems appealing, but things happen. Now, it is a bit confusing, and honestly, if I was to say watch it to you guys, I would say just watch the first season, because the first season is so great, and you are hungry for more episodes after it, but I think it's just pretty much summed up in one, and that happens a lot with TV shows, where they basically have a good first season, they could wrap it up, but then they changed the ending so it could be open to another season, which I don't think they needed to do in this case. Like, by the time we got to season 3, season 3 just wasn't very good, sorry. I liked how it was summed up all in the one world, in the Westworld, and then they just tried to expand it a lot, and it was just too much. Like, one season, please. I would give it a 4 out of 5. The cinematography is so great. I really, really love like Utah kind of looking places. So yeah, that's a big up for me. Next we have Money Heist, which is also called La Casa de Papel in Spain or wherever you want to be. Basically, it's kind of my somewhat guilty pleasure show. Me and my mom started watching it actually like last year, I think, when we thought it was like, it said it was 3 parts, and we took that as 3 episodes, but once we got past the 3rd episode, we're like, wait, nothing, they didn't finish what they were doing, and then we realized there's a shitload of episodes left, and we were already hooked, so we had to keep watching it. Basically, as the dumb English name suggests, it is about a money heist, like stealing from the Royal Mint of Spain. It sounds kind of, I don't know, cliche, normal, blockbuster kind of thing, which it is, but it's very intriguing to watch. It's more about like the relationships that's happening at the time. They have some really sneaky ways of like, I don't know, sneaking into the bank. It's giving me like ideas of what I could do if I'm really desperate. But yeah, I think it's a really well thought out TV show. It does seem really corny at times and I laugh at it a lot, but that's what I like about it. And also, you can watch it in Spanish with like English dub, or if you know Spanish, I'm sure you can just listen to it. But I've been watching it with English dub. I know, it's probably the worst, but I think it's just so hilarious with the English dub that I couldn't stop watching it like that. And if you've watched it, you'll know this laugh. Tell me who that is in the comments below. I would give that 4 out of 5. Would I recommend you watch it? Yes, 100%. It's on Netflix. I basically think you can watch it anywhere. Also, sometimes when I'm watching it, me and my mom were literally the whole time just like, oh my gosh, you're doing a heist. You don't need to be doing all this relationship stuff. It just makes it so dramatic. And it's like, why would you be doing this? But it's hilarious. They're just always hooking up or doing something, or there's some drama. It's like, hello, get the money. But now that show kind of put me on a tangent to watch another show, which in English is called Locked Up, and I think in Spanish it's Vis A Vis. I've been told I say that so weird, but correct me if I'm wrong. Basically that show Locked Up, Vis A Vis, is kind of like, I want to say spin-off of Money Heist, but not really. It's just got a couple of actors that are in Money Heist that end up in Locked Up, which is about a women's prison. Kind of sounds like Orange is the New Black, pretty much, but I haven't really seen all of that. Locked Up has some great characters, a lot of drama, lesbian scenes, just, it's a lot, and I love it. It's overly dramatic. Lots of random things happen each episode. Just, they're trying to cram in a lot of drama. But the key characters I love that just kept me watching the show, because at first I thought it might be a bit too cheesy for me, but then we got hooked by Naiwa Nimri's character. She is, you might hate her at first, but she's just really intriguing to watch. She's kind of crazy, but honestly it's a lot of episodes, so it is a big deal. Like, if you're gonna go into it, you just know you got a lot of things to watch, which is a pro or a con. Sometimes you just want something to watch really quickly, or something that you have forever to watch. So that is Vis A Vis. Honestly, I think there's another season or a TV movie or something that I cannot find. I just can't find it anywhere. I need someone to point me in the right direction, but I'm pretty sure they haven't put it out anywhere but Spain, and I don't think they've dubbed it in English, so we'll see if I can ever find that. And I would probably give it maybe a 3 out of 5. Like, I really enjoy it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again because it's a lot, and I would recommend it to people maybe after they've seen Money Heist. Next up we got Dark, which is another show that I have watched before. Like, I started watching it. I watched the first season, and then my boyfriend was like, hey, there's another season coming out. There's the 3rd season coming out this year. We have to watch the rest and get up to that. And let me tell you, it's just another TV show where the first season is just chef's kiss, the best. And then they continue on and you're like, what are you doing? Dark just makes a lot of sense in the first season. Basically, it's a German show and it's about kind of going back in time and like, I don't know, relationships getting interconnected between different years of time. I think there's like 3 different time areas that you can go to in the first season. But then as they spread it out to more seasons, it just ends up being way too many time zones, too many characters. I don't know who's doing what. It's very confusing. And they always just say like, oh, I know the origin, but they never like fix anything. It just continues on like that. Maybe I'm just getting more confused though, because I am watching it with just like English subtitles, and and I'm just like missing something. Maybe there's stuff in their voice to tell them apart, but it just gets to too many characters. But last night, we actually finally finished the last episode of the 3rd season. It ended up being a bit of a chore, but can I tell you, the last episode was really nice because they actually summed up the whole like series all together. They ended it and it was just like such a relief and finally a closure to the series. It is a little bit disappointing because I love how it's shot and I just love all the characters. It's like such a different vibe. If you like Stranger Things, you'll really love Dark. But yeah, I would suggest just the 1st season. Don't continue on, it gets too confusing. 1st season 4 out of 5, rest of it 2 out of 5. Next up is Ozark, which is basically about a family getting into a lot of shit with like cleaning money. Yeah, they basically move out to the Ozarks and, you know, get into even more shit once they move there. It's actually a really addictive show. They always end in a cliffhanger and I always want to keep watching until late at night, which is exactly how this binging works. Now, the most intriguing part of this show isn't just the story because, oh boy, the story just kind of goes in different ways that you don't expect sometimes. Characters die, like the main characters, the family are just doing things that you really don't think a normal family would be doing together. Like they're kind of cleaning money through businesses and drug dealers come, you know, it's there's a lot. But the main intriguing part is the character Ruth. Now I have a love-hate relationship with her. At first I was like, no, I really don't like her because she's so different from me, I suppose, but by the end you'll learn to love her and her amazing accent. So for her, it's 5 out of 5. Next up is Unsolved Mysteries. I'm not sure if you got on the bandwagon, but Netflix brought out Unsolved Mysteries again this year. It used to be like an old like 80s, 90s TV show, but this year they brought out the documentary version on Netflix, which is a lot more polished, very documentary style, and all the stories from the first drop were very, very mysterious. Like, do you actually know what happened to the guy who fell through the roof? Who knows? Anyways, the whole series just makes you think. You're like, what happened? I want to know, but you don't know because they haven't solved it. It's unsolved. Anyways, I watched that first season of that. It was the season, first part, first drop. Anyway, I watched that and then I decided, how about I watch the old series because my boyfriend Nick is really into the old series. He used to watch it all the time. So we started watching that and honestly, that is more exciting. Know why? Because they are from so long ago that they have sold some of them and they give updates. And that's what I like to hear. Something happened that was good. They found the guy who killed that woman, stuff like that. So I recommend, you know, watching the old season if you really love the stuff on Netflix. Yes, it looks dated, but I kind of like the style of it. It's kind of cool reenactments, interviews with the people at the time, and you can find it on YouTube for free. Pretty much they have all the episodes, so if you've run out of things to watch, there's a lot to watch right there. Also, what the new series is lacking is the voice of Robert Stack. Once you start watching the old stuff, you cannot watch Unsolved Mysteries without that guy. So probably my favorite show of 2020 is, well, I mean, there's a tie, it's hard to choose, but What We Do in the Shadows. Now, you're probably thinking, isn't that just a movie? Well, no, they brought out the TV series. So basically, if you don't know the movie, basically the story is there's vampires. In the movie, they were living in New Zealand, but this time they're living in, I think, New Jersey. And they're just like really funny vampires. They don't really know what they're doing. It's full-on comedy. It's very much a New Zealand kind of humor, if you know what I mean. So basically it's created by the guys Taika Waititi, and I think Jermaine Clement does some writing for it. He did like Thor, he's done Hunt for the Wilder People, I think, and just a lot of funny New Zealand things. Not that Thor's from New Zealand, but there's that, and then Jermaine Clements from Flight of the Conchords, which is like my ultimate TV show growing up. I love that shit. So if you like that kind of comedy, you will love What We Do in the Shadows. And honestly, I was just laughing out loud the whole time. All of it's kind of like subtle humor, and all the episodes are all like 20 minutes long, so it's super easy to watch, which is sad because there's not enough episodes and I watched it way too fast. It's also kind of filmed like mockumentary style, so you're having interviews with these vampires and you're following the journey of their familiar trying to be a vampire in the future, and all the shit he has to deal with, like cleaning up the bodies, just kind of, you know, being a human amongst these vampires. Sometimes they break the third wall and they have like the cameramen get eaten by vampires and stuff like that, so it's really good. There's even an episode where they bring in vampires from like other movies. They have like a whole big like group meeting kind of thing, and they're just, yeah, playing jokes about the fact that there's vampires in movies and all this stuff. So definitely recommend watching that. 5 out of 5, love it. I feel like it might not be everyone's humor, but if you like stuff like that, like me, it's the best thing ever. After that, we kind of went on a Ryan Murphy tangent. If you don't know who he is, he makes like Glee, and I can promise you I'm not about to suggest that. But also he does like American Horror Stories, stuff like that. But we started with American Crime Story. It's kind of terrifying. The main guy, Cunanan, what's it? Andrew Cunanan, is a psychopath, and it's played by Darren Criss, which I know him from the Harry Potter musical on YouTube, so watching him in this is like really scary. But also he's in Glee. I didn't even say. It's basically about how Versace was killed in the 80s, 90s in Miami, and it goes kind of into what was going through the head of his killer, and it kind of, every episode goes back in time a little bit further, so you slowly find out the whole story. Now, it's shot really well, and the costuming, the design, just like pretty much with every Ryan Murphy thing, everything is spot on. Lighting, love it. I wouldn't recommend it if you don't like dark things. I give it maybe a 4 out of 5, and that was around about the time when they also brought out Hollywood, and yeah, that came out around the same time, so obviously I binge watched that afterwards. Also another Ryan Murphy, shot really well. I kind of, I don't rate it too highly, probably like 3 out of 5. I don't know, it reminded me of a musical or something, but there wasn't singing. And then we went on to Ratched, which was another Ryan Murphy, I'm pretty sure, please correct me if I'm wrong. It reminds me so much of American Horror Story season, is it 2? Yeah, 2, Asylum. Basically, it follows the story of Ratched, what's her name? Something Ratched. I am so bad at names. I like literally probably would forget my own name at some point. But basically it follows her as she is trying to save her, I don't want to have spoilers, but save her brother from an asylum, and stuff happens. She ends up being a nurse there, and it's not an asylum, it's a psychiatric hospital. But basically, watch this mainly for all the production design, the costume design. It is so beautiful, the colors are so nice, and a lot of great music going into it as well. Now, would I recommend this to you? I would recommend it if you really like American Horror Story, that kind of thing. It's quite dark. A lot of things made me cringe, especially because they're doing lobotomies. On a lighter note, next up, Kath and Kim, rewatched that series. Basically, my boyfriend moved to Australia this year and he had no idea what Kath and Kim is, so I had to educate him. And if you don't know what it is, I swear, you need to watch this. It is basically about this mum and daughter who live in Melbourne, Australia. Very Australian, like early 2000s kind of show. The fashion is crazy. Look at my, look at my, look at my. It's just very Australian. Maybe you wouldn't get it if you weren't from Australia so much, but it's kind of like really easy to watch because it's only 20-minute episodes. And the sad thing is they don't actually have enough episodes for me. I wish it was just like as long as like Friends or something. It just needs a lot more episodes because I'm sad because I've watched them all. Nick, come back.
What?
What was your favourite show? The year?
Money Heist.
Money Heist?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
Perusing this. Although close second was What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yep.
Hi.
That's what I'll say. Close third, Kath and Kim.
Yes. Now we have a tied first show, which I again watched for the second time. Why do I just keep watching the same things again? Is it because I grew up just watching Harry Potter over and over again as a kid and it gave me some weird kind of mental issues? Probably. But Euphoria. Oh my goodness. The costumes, the filming, the story, everything about it, the editing. I just love Euphoria. I guess it has to be number one if we have to rate it on all those things. But it's just such a beautiful show. Very heavy topic. It's basically about this girl called Rue, and she's kind of dealing with this addiction she has and how her friends deal with it, what's going on in their lives. Basically gives me kind of Skins vibes, just a lot more polished, very cinematic, a lot of glitter, guys. It makes me want to do a Euphoria lookbook, and all the fashion in it is so inspiring. So I definitely suggest you watch it if you haven't already, or watch it a second time like I did. I guess like Zendaya's performance is amazing. There's also a lot of actors in there where it's like their first time acting and stuff. They were just like pulled off the street, or they're like a model and stuff. Every character is very intriguing. They got their flaws. They got everything about them. It's just... But yes, I'm sorry. Stop what you're doing right now. Who cares about me? Go watch Euphoria. Who else here likes documentaries? I do. So I started watching The Vow, which is basically about this cult, I guess you call it a cult, that was happening in America. Don't want to say too much about it, don't want to ruin it for you, but there was these people who got stuck in a cult and they needed to get out and kind of expose the cult, but there was a lot of drama happening with people in the cult and, you know, outside it, legal battles, blah blah blah. Honestly, I started watching it very intrigued to watch the episodes each week because they were releasing it weekly. Like, how old school. Most things are already available to watch all at once, so that was tough. I kind of got sick of watching it. It was telling me the same thing every time. I just wanted to know the end result of what happened to the cult, and it just took a long time to say that. Next up is The Act, which I was very excited to watch for such a long time. Basically because it's got Joey King in it, and I really like her, even though I really don't like Kissing Booth. Basically, it's about this girl, this teenage girl who's physically and mentally abused, I suppose, by her mother, who makes her think that she is mentally and physically handicapped for her whole life, and how she escapes. It is based on a true story, so you may already know what happens, but yeah, it's just a really insane story, and I feel for the main characters because they are actually real people in real life. Don't know if I loved how they executed it in a show. It seemed a bit slow and like long-winded, and I'd probably rate it like 3 out of 5. Would I recommend it? Yeah, but like lower in the list. Now finally, the show of 2020 that everybody seems to be talking about, The Queen's Gambit. I basically binged the shit out of that. Honestly, my boyfriend, he friggin' plays chess 24/7, like every day of the week. So we had to watch that show and it was perfect. I loved it. Every episode intriguing. I loved that it was just a short series, so you knew that like you would have a proper ending at the end. They wouldn't keep it cliffhanger. It was nice to see all the different fashion from the era, and yeah, it was shot really well. They had some cool like elements of like chess pieces on the roof and everything like that. Also, her haircut was iconic. I definitely recommend watching Queen's Gambit for every single person. Yeah, I think it's nice that it's given people an idea of playing chess, because it's kind of not like the most popular thing to play, but I think in a time of 2020, it's nice to bring in a lot of new fun activities to do other than watching TV shows. So yeah. Now I think there was a couple more shows extra that I could talk about, but I didn't really like watch the whole season of them, and yeah, I don't really need to mention them. So the last show of the year that I watched was Moonbase 8. Now that was a show that was kind of hard to find. I think we found it on Amazon or Binge or something here, and it's about these guys who are, it's quite funny, these guys who are trying to go on a mission to space, I believe, or go to the moon. I think it's the moon. But they're like basically doing a trial mission out in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and it's just hilarious them trying to navigate living on the moon, but really it's just in the desert, and they sometimes have people like stealing their trash or whatever. It's just like kind of little things happen to them that ends up being a big deal. And the fact that they're wearing their spacesuits but they were like literally on Earth, and then they wouldn't want to take off the helmet because they would just like die. It's a really funny show, really easy to watch. I think it was like 6 or 7 episodes, so it's just something good to fill in the time. I guess I would give it like a 4 out of 5. Yeah, pretty funny, would recommend you watch it, easy to watch. Anyone can really watch it, it's not too offensive or anything. So yeah, love that show, and that is the roundup of every show that I have watched in 2020. There's probably a lot of things in there that I forgot, but they're the main series that I binged. Let me know in the comments below what you've been watching. Give me some suggestions for 2021 because I've run out of things. I don't even know if they're still making TV anymore, so give me some ideas, please. And I'm so sorry about the lighting changing this whole time. There's clouds outside. Thank you, Australia. But anyways, I have been Jen. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. My Instagram is @InTheWonderYears. And until next time, keep watching TV because we can't wander anymore.